This is The Daily Divide. The government's latest update shows 4 of its 9 flagship targets are at risk of being missed. Job seeker numbers remain stubbornly high at 216,000, well above the forecast, and student achievement in reading, writing and maths is still lagging far behind the 80% goal. Health is also under pressure. Only 74% of emergency department patients are treated within 6 hours, well short of the 95% target, and just 57% of elective surgeries are being done within 4 months. But there is progress elsewhere. Emergency housing numbers have dropped dramatically to 501 households, beating the 2030 goal already. Crime and youth offending are tracking down, school attendance is improving, and emissions cuts are considered on track. With 9 targets set for delivery by 2030, officials say some wins are clear, but some big risks remain in education, jobs and health. New Zealand First leader Winston Peters is vowing to shake up KiwiSaver, making it compulsory and gradually lifting contributions for workers and employers to 10%, with tax cuts to soften the cost. Unveiling the policy at his party's conference in Palmerston North, Peters also announced cabinet support for making English an official language and renewed calls for migrants to sign a values pledge before gaining citizenship. He railed against Labour, the Greens and Te Pāti Māori, slamming what he called woke ideology, transgender policies and race-based politics, while warning the left-leaning parties would destroy the country economically and socially. Immigration was another major theme. Peters argued nearly a third of Kiwis now being foreign-born was unsustainable, accusing Australia of using New Zealand as a stepping stone. With the 2026 election in sight, Peters predicted a massive political victory, casting New Zealand First as a nationalist force to restore economic and social stability. New Zealand is set to spend more than $2 billion on 5 new Seahawk helicopters from the US at around $400 million each. That's nearly 5 times what Australia paid per chopper just 2 years ago. Sparking concerns we're being ripped off. Defence analysts say the steep price isn't just for the aircraft. About 3/4 of the bill is for building an all-new support system, training and parts. But critics argue buying only 5 drives up per unit cost, and that replacing all 8 of our ageing Sea Sprites would have been smarter. Seahawks are more advanced and deadly, but their missiles have shorter range than the old ones. Officials insist the deal locks New Zealand into the latest tech and secures a place in the global supply queue, at a time when military demand worldwide has surged since the Ukraine war. The question remains, is this a smart investment in security or a desperate buy at a premium price? Te Pāti Māori has tightened its grip on Tamaki Makaurau, with Orini Kaipara winning the by-election by more than 3,000 votes over Labour's Penny Henare. Turnout was just 27%, low but typical for by-elections. The race, triggered by the death of Te Pāti Māori MP Takutai Tash Kemp, was more about parties than personalities. Labour, once dominant in Māori seats, has now failed again to reclaim lost ground. Analysts say the result signals a generational shift, with Te Pāti Māori energising younger voters through social media and grassroots campaigning, while Labour struggles to inspire. For Kaipara, this is a trial by fire that cements Kemp's legacy and positions Tamaki Makaurau as a safe seat. For Labour, the question is whether it can reinvent itself in time for 2026. First to pay equity claims under the government's new rules have been lodged, covering 1,600 plunket and hospice nurses. The nurses organisation said they earn up to 20% less than Health New Zealand nurses, who they themselves went on strike last week. Union leaders accused the government of moving the goalpost to save billions, forcing nurses to reprove cases that should already be settled. Both Plunket and Hospice backed the claims, saying vital care work had been undervalued for decades. Meanwhile, a new taxpayers' union Curia poll shows Labour just ahead of National, 33.8 to 33.1%, with the Greens and Te Pāti Māori both up. The centre-left will narrowly have the numbers to form a government 61 seats to 60. Winston Peters continues to climb in preferred Prime Minister rankings, while the cost of living remains at the top issue for voters. The health sector faces more turmoil, with senior doctors set to decide Monday if they stage a 2-day strike over stalled pay talks. Their union has rejected Health Minister Simeon Brown's push for binding arbitration, accusing him of illegal interference. At the same time, Brown is touting progress on his Elective Boost program, claiming more than 16,000 extra surgeries have been completed, well above target. Labour is sceptical, accusing the government of hiding costs and pushing patients into private hospitals. Teachers are also in pay talks. The Education Ministry has doubled its latest offer to secondary teachers, but still wants more out-of-term work days in return. And in tertiary education, many polytechnics are struggling with enrolments at some institutes halving over the past decade. Only a handful, including Otago Ara and Open Polytechnic, are bucking the downward trend.